Hey
Hello.
world! Welcome back to Dragon Fairy History Podcast. I am your host Elijah, and this is my co-host.
Mary.
And today we are going to talk about a very important person from the gay rights movement,
Mhm.
Sylvia Rivera. In our last episode, we talked about Marsha P. Johnson. But Sylvia Rivera is like kind of builds off of Marsha P. Johnson. Like they're two peas in a pod. You know, you can't talk about one without talking about the other. So, yeah. And also, Mary, do you know what this is a special kind of episode today. Do you know why?
Oh, my mom's birthday.
Well, I don't know if that happy birthday to your mom, but this is not about your mom. This is our 1 year anniversary.
Oh my God.
We have officially been doing this podcast for a year. How does
That's
it
cr-
feel, Mary?
um, I had no idea it had been a year. That feels insane.
Did it go by fast?
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It felt like forever ago, honestly. I feel like it's been a long year.
Yeah. Honestly, like I remember filming like our first episode when I was like in New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a wild time in New Mexico.
That was the craziest time of my life.
Yeah. I'm glad I wasn't there. But before we get into it, Mary, we gotta have our fun facts. What is a fun fact about you, Mary?
Um, a fun fact about me is last week, I joined a cooking class, like a one-day cooking class, and we made a bunch of sauces. And so now I know how to make like 10 different kinds of sauce.
That's awesome. Did you learn how to make like pesto sauce?
No, we learned how to make like different kinds of aiolis, kinds of barbecue sauces, and like chimichurri sauce and like salsas and like salsa verde. It was fun.
Yeah. I'm sad. I'm kind of mad that they left out pesto sauce. That's like the best
Right.
sauce.
So good. I was hoping. At the beginning, we all said what our favorite sauce was, and I said pesto sauce. We never made it.
It's like, oh, you like pesto sauce? Well, too bad. No pesto sauce for you. Anyways, my fun fact is I went camping this week.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It was very fun, but it was nice to be in the woods. Like I felt very I went like on hikes and walks and it was, nice to connect with nature and kind of be like the away from my crappy apartment and away from the city and it was just kind of nice like that. Um, but I did not like the bugs. Actually, there was
Fair.
like a hive of yellow jackets at our
Oh,
campsite,
that's
and
scary.
and one of my friends there got stung 4 times.
Sucks. Oh my
He
God.
got stung through his clothes too. A lot of other people got stung through their clothes.
Oh my God. You would not catch me near the yellow jacket nest.
Yeah, it was really freaky. We had to get a park ranger to come and like exterminate them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it kind of made the experience a little exciting.
I could see that.
You gotta add something to your day.
Add some spice.
Add some spice. Without those yellow jackets, I wouldn't have a fun fact to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But now we're going to talk about our queen, Sylvia Rivera. Uh, did you know anything about Sylvia Rivera before going into this?
I'd say only what I learned from the Marsha P. Johnson video.
I
Other than that, I had
see.
no background.
Yeah, it just proves the lack of education happening, the lack of queer education in
Honestly.
America.
And the fact that they're trying to rule it out even more.
Yeah, it's, it's a problem, but
Mm.
we're here to educate and spread awareness of these icons. Everyone should know about Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera
Honestly, yeah.
because, their stories are very important, as you will soon see. Just to introduce Sylvia Rivera, she was born in New York City in 1951, and her father was from Puerto Rico. I don't know why I can't say that right now. I usually can say this. I have like a sore in my throat, so it's like some things aren't gonna come out right. But, Puerto Rico. And her mom was from Venezuela. So she is Hispanic, and that definitely comes into play later in her life, the discrimination she faces. Um, but she was raised by her grandmother, who unfortunately would uh like be physically violent with Sylvia when she started to experiment with clothing and makeup, when she was exploring her gender. Um, and she was suspended from school when she was like attacked on the school playground, which,
Wow.
like,
That's
why is she the one getting suspended when she was literally attacked?
yeah, that's
And because of all of this, like, terrible childhood torment, she ran away from home when she was 11 years old. Very early to be running away from home.
yeah.
I'd be too scared to run away at that age. She unfortunately became a victim of sexual exploitation, but luckily,
Age of 11?
wait, what?
At the age of 11?
Yeah, yeah, like as soon as because she met Marsha P. Johnson, like when she was 12,
Wow,
12.
there's some weird men out there.
Yeah, yeah, there's like terrible people out
Yeah.
there. Um, so yeah, she faced sexual exploitation. Then when she was about 12 years old, she met Marsha P. Johnson, who took her in and became a mother figure to Sylvia. And the two were involved in the Stonewall that sorry, the sore in my throat. In the Stonewall riots when Sylvia was only 17. So, they were both pretty young when they got involved, especially Sylvia. Sylvia always wanted to be an activist. Like, I found a quote of her saying that it was in her blood. Like she just had that instinct to stand up for what was right. And this led her to, lead protests against police raids and, getting involved in the Black liberation movement. Um, and similar to Marsha, Sylvia was often excluded from the gay rights movement, and she fought the exclusion of trans people of color from larger gay rights movement. And it made me wonder, in doing this research, I was thinking, why would, just why? Why would the gays exclude trans people like
Yeah.
from the movement? Because like everyone's a little gay here, It doesn't matter like what gender you are. And so I started thinking, like, what if maybe, was the exclusion more about them being trans, or was it more about them not being white? And I wanted to know, like, what you think, Mary.
I have no idea, honestly, because I don't know why, like, gay people, like, people have been historically, like, excluded, would then go and exclude people.
Hmm.
I have no idea. It could be maybe that they don't quite understand trans people, because that's why gay people were excluded. So then maybe they're just kind of carrying that over. That's what it could be.
A bit of projection.
Yeah, it might just be like some projection. They're like excluding people for the same reason that they were excluded.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look that up because I want to know. Oh, it says that this exclusion was partly due to the perception that transgender individuals were not directly affected by the issues of the gay rights movement, which primarily focused on same-sex attraction and sexual orientation. Additionally, the transgender community was often seen as a separate entity with its own distinct needs and challenges that were not adequately addressed with the broader LGBTQ movement. I guess,
Sounds like a bunch of BS, bunch of horse shit.
yeah, I don't get it still.
Yeah, because exclusion is just exclusion, you know. Don't want to be like justifying the exclusion because it doesn't really matter the why. It just matters like it happened, and I think maybe it was partly due to, them not being white because, it was still a heavily racist time, and, we're still in a heavily racist
Yeah.
time.
Except there's like a lot of black gay people though too. Or were they also excluded?
I think there were a lot of segregation happening with gay bars where like black
Mm.
people weren't allowed in a gay bar.
That's crazy. People
And
being excluded.
it was often because, they often use the excuse, oh, we don't want black people in our bars because they don't tip as well.
What? That's such a weird excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say some of it was definitely probably them being racially targeted.
Yeah, definitely. Um, but do you have any questions and comments about, my little bio of, or I guess my introduction of Sylvia?
I have some fun facts to add to your introduction, actually.
Oh, well, let's hear them.
So, I already talked about the Stonewall Uprising in 1969, and apparently Sylvia Rivera threw the second Molotov cocktail, but not the first, and apparently, like, it ended up wrong on record, and she constantly had to correct that. I think is interesting.
That is funny.
Because I kept seeing like conflicting things when I was reading about it, even.
Well, hey, we gotta believe what she says. If she
Exactly,
says
she
she
was
threw the
there.
second one, then it's the second one, straight from
Yeah.
the source. I wonder who threw the first one then. Did she ever
Mhm.
mention?
I didn't read that part of it. I don't know the first one. I don't know if even she knows.
It was probably just some random person she just saw and never knew.
Oh yeah, that was probably it. Didn't know their name.
Yeah.
And then also apparently like when she was really young, her father ended up leaving and then her mom died when she was only 3 years old, which is how she ended up with living with her grandmother,
Mhm.
which is who's not the best person.
Yeah, no, not at all. Very unfortunate. She definitely had a really rough start to life.
Honestly, yeah.
Next thing I just wanted to say was during a pride parade in 1973, uh this is like a historically iconic moment for her. Sylvia was discouraged to participate in this parade, but she grabbed the microphone on this stage in front of like hundreds of people, and she had this whole speech. Like I'll probably like add a clip of it because it's like an iconic speech of hers.
I have been raped and beaten many times by men, heterosexual men that do not belong in the homosexual shelter. But do you do anything for them? No. You all tell me to go and hide my tail between my legs. I will not no longer put up with this shit. I have been beaten. I have had my nose broken. I have been thrown in jail. I have lost my job. I have lost my apartment for gay liberation. And you all treat me this way? What the fuck's wrong with you all? Think about that.
A quote from it is, "If it wasn't for the drag queen, there would be no gay liberation movement. We're the frontliners." And basically just saying you got there without trans people, we wouldn't have gay rights because I think that's true. Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson just, you know, just they powered through the movement. They did so much to um, spread awareness to fight for the cause, and they definitely helped pave the way for gay rights. So,
Yeah.
and I want to like address like some language things. They say the drag queen, which as we know today is like a gay, usually a gay dude, um, dressing up as a woman or being feminine, performing femininity. But back then, uh, it was used for like a lot of trans women were called drag queens because people would just like think they're guys like dressing up as girls. And so a lot of drag queens kind of like reclaimed it and just like proudly called themselves drag queens because of that was just like the words of the time. So just like wanting to
Yeah.
make that clear. But if you know a trans woman, don't call her a drag queen because
Yeah, it's different.
it's a bit offensive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even though she had this epic speech, um, just people were not on board with her at that time, and she was booed off the stage.
Oh my
Like
God.
even in the clip, it hurts me so much. Like you hear her say this like inspirational speech, and then everyone is just boo. The next thing she did though, along with Marsha P. Johnson, is she founded the STAR organization, which we talked about in our previous episode, that gave a home for homeless trans people. Unfortunately, after the star became became bigger and they started running it, more into her adulthood, she dealt with substance abuse and homelessness, and this, led her to have like terrible mental health, and she attempted to off herself, but Marsha, you know, helped Sylvia become healthy again, which I think is so sweet. That just shows like, how connected these two are and how like they're always there for each other. Because of her mental health issues, Sylvia actually took a break from activism and left New York City for a while, and she only returned to the city in 1992 after Marsha P. Johnson died. Um,
Um,
yeah, I think she came back and got back into activism because, she wanted to continue Marsha's legacy, um, which is so fair. I think that that whole story is very inspirational, but it's also very sad too, obviously. But the first bit of activism Sylvia did in the 90s was creating a place called the Transy House, which is just a funny name. Um, it was based off the Star, basically like the Star 2.0. This was created in 1997, also housing like based off, a transy house. It's just a house full of trans people. Um, and she learned to forgive the LGBT community for excluding her since by the 90s, the gay rights movement became more inclusive of trans people and people of color. So I think that's very healthy how she was able to reconcile with that. And then at the end of her life, she got liver cancer and she died in 2002 at the age of 50. And her partner, Julia, was with her when she passed, so she wasn't alone, which was nice. Um, there's now a street named after her called Sylvia Rivera Way.
Cool.
And there's a portrait of her in the National Portrait Gallery.
That's amazing. That was one of my fun facts.
Oh,
I actually have more to add to that though.
all right. Well, what do you
Yeah.
have?
She was actually the first transgender activist to be featured in the gallery.
Ooh, I know that. In 2002. Yeah, her legacy continues on through there's a law organized a legal aid organization called the Sylvia Rivera Law Project. It's supposed to help um, make sure like transgender people aren't being like discriminated in like the workforce and s stuff like that. Uh, Seems like the project covers a lot of bases. I actually never heard of it until now, so um, I'm not sure how active they are anymore. And that's all I have on Sylvia Rivera. That's her story. Do you have any questions or comments,
I do actually have
concerns?
one la I do have one last comment actually.
Mm-hmm.
or fun fact on Sylvia.
Oh, I see.
So in the early 1990s, she actually staged a symbolic protest by living on a pier in the West Village. And she did this to basically like hit at the organizations that she believed strayed from the community's needs
She lived, she
on a
lived
pier,
where?
on a pier in the West Village.
She lived on a pier.
I don't know for how long though, it didn't
How
say.
does that, how did that like help her with like, um, her goal?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Maybe it's not about like the pier. I'm too focused on the pier part. I think it's more about just like geographic location
Hmm.
and not like the water is the answer.
So this
No,
actually says that um, it was to advocate for the organizations that left a lot of people without homes in New York City. So that's why she lived on the pier to kind of just be like, hey, this is what you're doing to people.
definitely think she was like a mother figure of
Mm,
some sort to people.
for
Like
sure.
just like hey, bad boy, you're doing that's not how you do it. You're being bad. Yeah, that's just what it sounds like to me of like she's like parenting the LGBT community.
Honestly, yeah.
Do you remember that Jubilee video we watched of the liberal gays versus the conservative gays?
Yeah, it was painful to
It
watch.
was so awful. I do you remember the guy who was arguing that uh the the T should be left out
Oh my God, yeah.
of LGBT? Yeah, they were the ones who, like, back in the early days saying like, oh yeah, trans people just, they don't have the same experience as us. They're a gender, not orientation. They're their own kind. They shouldn't be part of this.
Maybe I can never understand the conservative gays. Because like conservative people hate gay people. So like what are you doing?
Oh my God. And like the conservative trans people versus the liberal trans people.
Like, no. Like there's no way you can be trans and conservative. Like, it just doesn't.
Oh my God. I saw a clip of Blair White basically saying she wasn't a woman.
What?
It was crazy. Oh God, I had to find it later.
Trans women, women. No, I believe trans women are trans women. I think that that's a very specific state of being. I certainly, now being more than a decade into my transition, I can recognize certain parallels in my experience with women because it's not as if I'm just completely foreign to, the way they live and the way they're treated through society because I've transitioned and I'm recognized as a woman by people who don't know me in public. However, there is a long list of things I'll never experience. And I actually find it quite insulting to both trans people and women that there is this sort of like, nuance less take out there that trans women are women. I think that it strips both parties of their ability to have real, honest conversations.
But she was just, I don't know what she was asked, but her answer was just like, oh no, I'm not like other girls. I'm a trans girl. So that's not a girl. It's like
I don't know. Every like clip I've heard her speak in, it just sounds like she's saying like, "Oh, I'm just like better than other trans people. Like, I'm just like so different."
No, she's really trying to she's really trying to get attention from conservative people. I don't
Yeah.
know why. Why
She
can't
probably
she just
grew up
get
in a
the
conservative household.
Wait, what'd you say?
She probably grew up in a conservative household.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
Because I
like,
don't see why.
girl, when you're trans, you gotta like drop that shit. Gotta make some
Yeah.
changes in your life. It's like when you find out that you're lactose intolerant, you gotta quit drinking milk.
Yeah.
You gotta quit having yogurt, you know, like just for your own good, for your own well-being.
Like being lactose intolerant and working at like an ice cream shop.
No, I'm
Every lactose intolerant person I know loves milk more than like any non-lactose intolerant
What's
person.
up with that? It's you know what I feel it feels like? If it feels like when like a guy is flirting with a girl and she rejects him and he's like, "Oh, I got rejected. I want her even more now." Like like oh my like growing up whenever I was doing, I don't know, whenever my parents told me no, it just made me want to do it even more. Like I would be messing with something, my dad would be like, "Stop messing with that," and I'd want to just mess with it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like
Never
that
even,
saying, you always want what you can't have.
yeah, want what you can't have. But I think that that's different. I don't think that's the best comparison to what Blair White is doing.
Yeah, definitely not. I don't understand her.
I think she's just a bitch. I
Yeah.
think she's just a hater. See, you can't be trans and hate trans people. Because if you hate trans people, then you basically just hate yourself. Like
Yeah.
that's like what you're saying. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with her.
I think she needs help because apparently she hates herself.
I guess.
The amount of hate she gives to other trans people.
Yeah, honestly. She's like directing hate towards her like own community.
There were times when like I would like I tried to like connect with trans people like at my school. But it like I feel like every trans person I ended up being connected with always was like not great.
Really?
Like either they were just a bad person or I just did not vibe with them at
Hmm.
all. And I just like there's like a moment where I was thinking like, you know, maybe I should just like avoid trans people. Maybe I should try to spice things up and like uh you know, talk to other people. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just like the certain people you met, probably.
Yeah, definitely the certain people I met. I feel like everyone I met in school just had some crazy drama to them.
Yeah, I think that's just a lot of college students, honestly.
Yeah. Although I don't think I was drama. I don't think I was being dramatic. Like, I'm not the problem here, Mary. Just because everyone hates me doesn't mean I'm the problem.
No, I think you were definitely not the problem, though. Situations that I've heard.
Yeah. but I definitely have a lot of haters for some reason. I think maybe they're just jealous. I think that was the problem. I think a
Yeah.
lot of trans people I like became friends with, they were I think they were jealous of like where I was at my transition because I I always befriended people who like were not on hormones or like
Mm.
um didn't pass as well or just early in their, transition. And like honestly, I didn't care. I was like just chill with whatever. But they were not chill with whatever. It was very annoying. There was this, oh my God. Yeah, there was this person I knew who um uh she was trans and I am trans, trans girl, trans dude. And so our like body dysphoria was like the opposite. So
Yeah.
anything that I didn't like about my body, she was like she was like you don't like your hips? Ah, I wish I had your hips.
Oh,
I'm like, girl, I don't think you're making me feel better. I don't think you realize what you're saying to me.
that
You're,
actually
you're
makes me
trying
feel
to
really
make me feel better about my hips, but you're basically saying you want my hips, which then means that my hips are feminine. Like that's what you're saying. And I'd have a lot of that from her, and it was not great.
Yeah, that's not a good response to
That
what
is
you're saying.
not great. Yeah. And then like I feel like every trans person I met was like always surprised I was trans. They're like, "Oh, you don't look trans. Wow, you passed so well." Like, thanks. It really definitely gives the vibe of like when like I don't know, like when you think you're complimenting someone by saying they're so skinny, like, "Oh wow, you look so good. You're so skinny." It's like, is that really a compliment? Or are you just like making me feel insecure about my body?
It like feels kind of backhanded almost.
It is. It is a bit backhand of like, I don't know. People always said that I look straight. They're like, "Oh, I thought you were like a straight dude. You dress straight." Like, guys, I'm wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Like, what? Am I supposed to be wearing a fucking dress? Like, how can I tell you I'm gay without dressing like a girl? Like, what's happening here, guys? I'm wearing like the most basic clothes.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like most of the gay men that I meet just dress like, I don't know, it's just like a stereotypical man.
Yeah.
Like I don't
But,
think there's
I guess a
anything
stereotypical man is a straight man. Have you ever gotten like weird comments of like, because you're bisexual, right?
yeah.
Have you ever gotten, I don't know, have you ever like talked to queer people and like have any of them like said like, "Oh, you look lesbian" or whatever? Because apparently there's a way to look lesbian.
I don't think I've ever, I think just I've been told that I'm straight passing before, and that I think that was just, I've never really gotten any weird.
I think everyone is straight passing unless they have like piercings, tattoos, or colorful hair.
Yeah, honestly.
Unless they're wearing a shirt that says I'm gay. Oh my God, actually someone thought I was straight when I was wearing like a pride shirt. Like I have a shirt that's rainbow and says pride on it. And I was like telling one of my classmates that I was like going on a date this weekend. And then they were like, "Oh, like what's her name?" I'm like, "You you ass look at me. You think I'm going on a date with a girl? Can you not read? Can you not read Pride?" It was crazy.
So funny.
I'm like, guys, am I really that much of a Chad that you think that even with rainbow on me, I still look straight?
They're just like, oh, he must be an ally.
Dude, oh my God, if an ally is wearing gay stuff, I don't know. It feels like
But
a
where we're
bit
going.
much.
Like wearing a rainbow shirt, be like, oh, who is she?
Thanks for watching or listening to our episode about Sylvia Rivera. Hope you learned something. Uh, if you want us to talk about anyone or anything else, just comment below.
If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and stay hydrated, kids.